Alrighty guys, Fieldman 12, wanted to see a video of the 9700, an overview of it. So here it is, 1980 model year, a little history behind it. The Milton Knight 1980 second year production for him. We bought it, or Dad, well, I didn't do anything when I was 2 years old and we bought it, but I bought it in 96, and Dad down at a dealer at Staunton, Illinois, Bodner Equipment. Well, there's the dealer sticker for it right there. I'm out of Staunton, and it had a fresh overhaul on it. Had like 20 hours on an overhaul when we bought it. I think that we're guessing there's probably about 6,500 to 7,000 machine engine hours on it, on the whole unit. The hour meter reads like 3,600 or something right now, or 3,500, and it had a new hour meter when the engine is overhauled. And the reason the engine got overhauled, an injector got stuck on it, and just dumping raw fuel in the engine and melted one of the pistons, melted a hole in it. So they went ahead and overhauled it, it was traded in that way to Bodner Brothers, knowing it needed an overhaul, and then they overhauled it, and they got a little bit of farm ground, and they used it for 1 year, and then sold it again, and we bought it. We think originally it was sold out of a dealer at Coulterville, Illinois, which is southeast of Staunton a little bit, I think. And the only reason we think that, these mud hogs on here for the four-wheel drive were a dealer installed option. And I think it's this rim over here. I don't know if I'll be able to find it or not. I probably can't, too dark in here. But anyway, it's got Coulterville stamped into the rim, like someone went along and the letters on a punch and stamped Coulterville into the rim, and so that's why we think it came out of Coulterville originally. I also think we think we're the third owners of it. Not sure on that, but I think we're the third owners. And we won't ever get rid of it. We'll have it for, it'd be like 7,800. It's just a family heirloom. Well, let's see, where do I want to start? Someone else had a request on the comments for, let me look here on my phone. Someone wanted to see how to put the cab kit in also. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just start with this. I'll come back to it. I'll start up here at the back. We got those spinners there, those hydraulic spinners. Dad put those on there. Didn't have anything from the factory. It's supposed to have a chopper that goes on here, and it's sitting over there behind the air compressor. We just take it off to do corn. It's just kind of hard on them, and then the 6-row head, it'll kind of spit it out about as wide as a corn head. I'll just get up on the other side and show the engine, because it's a little easier with the auger folded, since the auger's folded back on that side. There we go, 640 cubic inch Perkins V8, turbocharged, 250 horse, or like 248 or something. That's a pretty good motor. It's got a lot of power. Pulls good. I got straight pipe put on, and I put the turbo on. Doesn't sound much different so far. It's just a tiny little muffler that was on it. But it'll probably sound a lot better once it gets under load. 265 bushel grain tank. Pretty good size, about the same as the 2188 with that bent extension. And you can see it goes Way down in there, got a big sump on each side. Hydraulic reservoirs over on the other side. Put a new air conditioner compressor on a couple years ago. This is a pretty serviceable combine. It's pretty easy to work on. All the drive belts and everything are up in here. Thresher D-clutch and the hydro drive and everything. There's a rotor drive back here. I'll probably talk for a while on this video, seeing this is my favorite video, or not favorite combine. Turn elevator, clean grain elevator. More drives and whatnot. The rotor gearbox is up in there. A shaft that runs through the grain tank comes up right there, and it drives the not the rotor feed impeller gearbox. That thing I change the blades on comes down off of this belt here, and then it drives that shaft goes across and runs the feeder house and the head on this belt right here. It's been a real good combine for us. I mean, it's had its problems, but after you run a combine, this will be the 20th season we've run it. So, I mean, obviously you're going to have problems with any machine if you've owned something that long. We got this adapter plate on here because we run an IH bean head on it, 1020 bean head, 20 foot. Works pretty good. And this is what I was talking about on the 2188. The drum sat back in there so far, and see, if it didn't even have this adapter plate, this drum would stick out past the front of the feeder house. That drum there would almost touch the auger and the bean head to keep the crop flow real even. But it doesn't seem to have a problem. This feeder house runs a little faster, and it's a lot bigger. I kind of wish you had a longer auger on it, and some of the later 9720s I think had a longer auger, but that was the model after this. View of the tank. There's that shaft underneath that piece of sheet metal bent up there. It runs that gearbox in the front. Put this new tube in right there, you can see. Got this handy little storage compartment in there. Makes a nice seat if you have a rider. There's the unloading auger, and there's the on and off, or in and out, and then on and off. Note for things we still need to do. Obviously, you got the radio and the lights. There's the lights for if it's unloading, and there's if the auger's out. Turn signal. There's your climate controls. Tilt steering wheel, clutch and brake. This thing's kind of handy. That's for the header control. Like if you're going along the field and you see a rock or something, you can just step on that real quick and it'll bump the header up a couple inches. And it'll jump over the rock or something. I use that quite a bit. I probably use it at least once a day, depending on what farms we're on. Some farms you don't use it, other farms, you're using it every 20 minutes. Throttle here. Here's gear shift. 3-speed transmission. There's the rotor speed adjustment. Hydro lever. There's the header raise and lower, and there's the reel raise and lower. The bean head. There's the engage for the header, and there's the separator engage, water temperature, engine oil pressure, That's kind of funny, that water temperature. Last year we were having trouble with it. It wasn't reading right. And we changed the sensor. We tested the continuity. We had the wiring harness all apart here in the dash. Couldn't figure out what the problem was. We'd run a bunch of leads back, test continuity, to make sure there wasn't any resistance throwing the gauge off. From here all the way back to the engine and the wiring harness. We'd done a crap ton of stuff. Get out of here, cat. Couldn't figure it out. Well, come to find out, there's two temperature sensors. There's one for the gauge, and then there's also another sensor that comes on for the light here in the control module or display module, and that'll shut the engine down if it comes on. If it gets air coolant temperature gets too hot and that light comes on, it'll shut the engine down. Also got voltage, fuel, rotor, speed, fan speed, ground speed, and engine. One of these, that's for if you got an ether can, which we don't, hooked in. That one's engine override to start. If you hold that button in, it overrides, because this thing will also shut down if it has a loss of oil pressure. And so push that in and it'll override it until you let off, and then it'll let that monitor take over. Yeah, 3452, so that's how many hours we put on it. There's a grain loss monitor. Some of them were equipped with a wiring harness. They all had them in the dash, but it was an option whether you had the wiring harness and the sensors in the machine. This one does not have that. Fuse panel back there. There's a switch for the four-wheel drive. No, I switched for extra lights. Four-wheel drive. There's a fan speed. There's a four-wheel drive there on that switch, and that's the reel. And this is the lever here for the chaff spreader on the back that Dad put in. Oh, and it was a Canadian Hawk requested. They wanted to see how the cab kit was put in. If I would have put it in, I'd have done a video, but Dad's the one that put it in, so I'll just kind of tell you how he did it. You just got to scrape all the old stuff off, take a putty knife, scrape it off, scrape the old glue off. To get this, it goes all the way around right here. And you can see it goes all the way back. And this back piece here, scrape the old stuff off, and then there's glue that comes in an aerosol can, and you just spray it on. That, or it's like yeah, I think it's like an aerosol can. You spray it on, put stuff on that sticks, and you get this piece on. It's pretty handy. That handle's there. You take those two hand screws out, and the whole cab roof is on a hinge, and it'll pivot up, and you can get in to work on the air conditioning, on the evaporator and heater core and everything. So it pivots up, and that's how you change that, is because it comes down, the foam kind of acts as a gasket. It sandwiches in there. It's pretty good. But they sure did it nice, and they come up with this cab. This thing's huge. I like this cab. Well, the cab's a little nicer on the 2188 just from the controls. But I like this one better because you can just stretch out and just, I mean, there aren't many other cabs got this much leg room in them. But, the thing I don't like, you gotta be careful when you've been running here on a windy day. You stand there, and that's the cab intake for the filter there. You're standing right here, slam the door, you get a face full of dust. So, gotta kind of watch that. Real easy to service though. I don't think there's anything else I haven't said. I might have said about the other combine. I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, I've been talking long enough. It's gonna take a while to upload. I'd like to wax the thing if we get some time, because it'd really wax up nice. We got a spot on here somewhere where we did wax. Probably wouldn't be able to see it on the camera though. But it looks pretty good too, the way it is for a 36-year-old combine. You might have heard me mention about a 9720. The only thing they changed between this and a 9720 was instead of having a lever on the side console there for the raise and lower the header, they had to call an electric over hydraulics, and they moved it and the reel speed, or it and the reel height, to switches on the hydro handle. Made it a little more handy to use. They went to a little bit different style hydraulics on it, so that's what they did there. But anyway, well, thanks again, Fieldman12, for requesting a video, and Canadian Hawk too. I'll have a bunch of videos of this running this fall. We're gonna do corn here in a couple weeks. And then we'll do a little. We just do the corn plot with this machine, and then we'll switch them over, both over to beans, and run hard on beans for a while. And then we'll finish up corn with that machine. Got 4210 ready to go also. So anyway, thanks for watching.